Conversations with enterprise customers are fairly slow because they're enterprise customers.
They take a while.
That's right. But we've recently landed a Lamborghini as a customer.
That's awesome.
When Lambo, right?
Well, you don't got to ask when Lambo anymore. You got Lambo.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So that's in partnership with Rarible, with Mocaverse, with Animoca Brands, and LightLink is the chain that Lambo would be launching the technology on.
Welcome back to the Crypto Crossroads, where we meet to discuss hidden gems that have massive potential. If you like deep dives that take you down the rabbit hole, then you're at the right channel because that's all we do here. So please take the moment to hit the like button and subscribe, and we can get the show started. Okay, today's topic is LightLink and its connections, its partnership with Lamborghini, Animoca Brands, and its subsidiaries, such as the Sandbox and the Mocaverse. You'll be surprised that this partnership came together because or through one of the biggest investment banks in Asia called CP Group. Now, if you're bullish on Velo, then stick around because soon you'll find out that Velo and LightLink are kind of like cousins, right? So that's something that I will explain later in this video. So let's get started with the first partnership. You see, back on October 13, 2023, Animoca Brands subsidiary, the Sandbox, formed a partnership with TB Media Global, which is a subsidiary of CP Group. We all know that the Sandbox is a Metaverse play, but you probably don't know much about TB Media Global. So here's two things outside of the CP Group connection that you should know. TB Media Global has two Metaverse projects that it is investing tons of money into. One of them is called Metaria, which is a Metaverse, and perhaps the biggest project of the two is called Translucia, which is a multiverse that holds many metaverses within, right? And that is a $300 million project that CP Group with many other companies worldwide are tackling. And actually, a little side note, Translucia is actually connected to the World Economic Forum, right? But that's a whole different video. But anyways, this partnership between the Sandbox and Translucia's mother company, TB Media Global, are working together to make multiple metaverses interoperable. So, in other words, this partnership will allow intellectual property and NFTs from the Sandbox to be compatible with Translucia and vice versa. So, basically, it's a bunch of worlds being connected, right? And there's going to be tokenization of real world assets and all kinds of stuff, but that's a whole different video. That's literally going into the rabbit hole. So let's talk about this partnership and how LightLink is involved. So remember, guys, in previous videos, I cover the fact that LightLink is partly owned by CP Group. So whatever CP Group does in terms of blockchain applications, I noticed that it tends to integrate LightLink into those partnerships, and that's what's happening here with the Sandbox partnership. Now remember, LightLink is a layer 2 that facilitates cheap and fast transactions that are all traceable on the blockchain. So one of its key components or key features is that it offers an enterprise mode where gas fees are prepaid by an enterprise or a big company, so that every time the customer does a transaction on chain, they don't have to pay for the fees because they are already prepaid. So I can see that happening for the Sandbox because it will be integrating LightLink, and that way every transaction that happens doesn't necessarily need to have a gas fee attached to it, So yeah, that's the main takeaway of this partnership between the Sandbox and TB Media Global from CP Group. But just notice how LightLink was integrated into this partnership, right? That's interesting. Now, literally just a month after this partnership, Animoca Brands and TB Media Global came together on December 13, 2023. The main emphasis of this collaboration was to cross-promote Mocaverse and Metaverse, which are some of the main projects for each respective company. But quick side note, if you're familiar with the Mocaverse and you got in it a couple months ago when it was sitting at 6-7 cents and rolled the pump all the way to like 45-50 cents, then shout out to you, because that was a massive run, and that's another great example of early bird gets a worm. Now let's get back to Animoca Brands and TV Media Global. Both of these companies are massive when it comes to the intellectual property rights. They have worked with some of the biggest companies, and TV Media Global actually produces their own stuff, right? And that's they have a lot of IP available to tokenize and make movies and enter it into the metaverse and the multiverse. So the way this is gonna happen is it's going to need a protocol that allows for fast, cheap, and immutable transactions. And there's no other project perfect for this than LightLink, right? CP Group's very own LightLink. And that's, again, in this partnership, LightLink is going to contribute. It has to. It's part of the partnership. So again, notice this collaboration between Animoca Brands and TV Media Global made sure to include LightLink. Now, fast forward about a month or so, on January 30th, 2024, Animoca Brands finally came together with LightLink. This was no longer a small integration, it was an actual collaboration between these two projects. And the goal was to integrate LightLink into selected Animoca brand projects. So we already know that the Grapes, the Red Village, the Mocaverse, and even the Sandbox are one of these projects. In fact, there's actually 25 projects already using LightLink. And another aspect of this relationship between the two companies is that Animoca Brands is advising LightLink on how to maximize its tokenomics and also marketing strategies. So how exactly is Animoca Brands going to utilize LightLink? Well, again, LightLink has a enterprise mode that allows clients to perform gasless transactions, and the enterprise can prepay them with fiat, right? The enterprise does not need to hold any cryptocurrency token. It does not need to hold Ethereum, LightLink, or any other coin. It can literally pay with fiat, just like the traditional business models do today. But it's all being processed on the blockchain, right? And that's something that enterprises like. They don't like, they want to use the technology without having to use the technology, if that makes sense, right? They want something that they are familiar with, but innovating at the same time. Okay, so let's recap just a little bit. We just talked about 3 different partnerships between Animoca Brands, its subsidiaries, CP Group, and LightLink that all occur within a 3-month span, from 2023 and 2024. But from there, we probably had one of the most interesting collaborations, and that is the partnership between Animoca Brands, LightLink, and Lamborghini. But before we talk about it, please do me a favor, hit the like and subscribe button. And now we could take a look at that short clip.
600,000 wallets. We do about 100,000 transactions every day. It's high capacity, low latency, low transaction fee. So it's more suited for real world applications. Conversations with enterprise customers are fairly slow because they're enterprise customers.
They take a while.
That's right. But we've recently landed a Lamborghini as a customer.
That's awesome.
When Lambo, right?
Well, you don't have to ask when Lambo anymore. You got Lambo.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So that's in partnership with Rarible, with Mocaverse, with Animoca Brands, and LightLink is the chain that Lambo would be launching the technology on.
That's phenomenal. Wow. So what was the pitch? What did you tell them about LightLink? What got them to cross over that finish line?
Well, it's certainly in combination with all of our partners, Gravitar Labs, to push this project forward. But our core differentiation is a different economic model. So over the past 7 years, when I talk to CTOs and CEOs, they constantly ask, how do I pay for my transactions on behalf of users, right? So we built this gas abstraction capability, which we can turn it on and off on the contract level, which allows enterprise customers to prepay gas in fiat. So they don't need to accumulate gas tokens 6 months in the future because they don't know how much
it's going to be.
Exactly. So
All right, guys, so we saw it. Lamborghini, Animoca Brands, and LightLink are working together. That is insane. And nobody is talking about this, you know what I mean? And that's what's driving me crazy, because this is a partnership that most projects would love to have. And, you know, investors would probably flood into these projects if they knew about it. But LightLink is, you know, LightLink is just a hidden gem, you know. And Animoca Brands, it's, you know, it's popular, but something is happening here, you know. But anyways, I don't want to rant. Let's talk about this partnership. All right, so how did Lamborghini, Animoca Brands, and LightLink come together? Well, this all happened back in October 31st, 2024, when Gravitas Labs came together with LightLink as partners. And they also partnered up with Animoca Brands, the Mocaverse, Lamborghini, and obviously I mentioned LightLink. And the goal was to create the Metaverse for the Lamborghini luxury car brand, which the Metaverse is called FastForWorld. FastForWorld. I'm sorry about that. I couldn't pronounce it. And essentially, it's going to be a metaverse where you could buy Lamborghini NFTs that are interoperable in many different games, right? And you can explore this metaverse city, and you can collect loyalty points. You could complete quests. You can mint assets such as NFTs, and you could probably shop Lamborghini merch. And this all needs, since it's gonna be an interoperable game asset, that you need it to be powered by a protocol that is chain agnostic, also cheap, fast, and secure. And that's where LightLink comes into play. In other words, LightLink will take care of the loyalty rewards. It will allow people to make transactions, mint NFTs, and transfer assets to different chains. Now, obviously, Animoca Brands was a big component of this partnership, but without CP Group making sure that LightLink is integrated into its partnership with Animoca Brands, then maybe this partnership would have never happened. But who knows? I know that LightLink and its team are highly connected, so I may just be speaking gibberish. But that's one point that I'm trying to drive home. CP Group, through its subsidiary TV Media Global, is highly focused on integrating LightLink into almost everything that they do. And the question is why? You know, why focus so much on LightLink? Like, what's so special about it? You know, after all, nobody knows about it, right? It's a hidden gem. But I think I have the answer to that. And the reason I think this is happening is because obviously CP Group partly owns LightLink, and its subsidiaries, TB Media Global and MQDC, invested into LightLink so they could power the CP Group multiverse called Translucia. And so since we're talking about these companies, we do know that TrueMoney is actually part of CP Group, and there is a potential connection between TrueMoney and LightLink. But we'll talk about that in a whole different video. But wait, yeah, I do want to say that since Velo and LightLink are both backed by CP Group, it just makes me wonder how these two projects are compatible. I don't think they're competitors, and I'm not saying that, you know, one is going to get the TrueMoney partnership, because whichever one gets it, I think there's a way to integrate both Velo and LightLink into such partnership. You know, for example, maybe Velo can process the payments, and then LightLink can take care of the loyalty reward points. But that's a different story. But notice one thing about Velo though. Velo is connected to XLM, and it runs on the Stellar network, right? And I did tell you guys that LightLink is actually connected to XLM in some capacity through Koala Pay. And the simple breakdown of this connection is that the LightLink team is developing smart contracts on Soroban that are being funded by Stellar. Now, since we're talking about XLM, let's do something real quick. Let's take a look at his logo and compare it to the logo of TB Media Global. Do you guys see a similarity, or is it just the same logo? Now, this could be a coincidence, but for a while I've been speculating a connection between CP Group and Stellar in some capacity, and maybe this is just the beginning of another deep dive, but who knows? It's just something interesting that I wanted to point out to you because it stood out to me the minute I saw it. Alright guys, so let's do a recap, but before we do me a quick favor, hit the like and subscribe button. Check out my LightLink playlist, my IXS and other playlists on my channel. And also check out some of my friends here on YouTube. We have Black Rue, Shook Digital Focus, Crypt Technicals, and Luke the Deeper Dive. Now let's get back to that recap. Okay, so we talked about the partnership between the Sandbox and CP Group subsidiary TB Media Global that integrated LightLink into the partnership. And then we talked about the Animoca Brands collaboration with TB Media Global that also made sure to include LightLink. Then we talked about the partnership between Animoca Brands, Gravitas Labs, and LightLink and Lamborghini, which is probably one of the most bullish and most interesting, at face value, at least for some people. And then we talked about TB Media Global, TrueMoney, and a potential partnership between Velo, LightLink, and TrueMoney itself. And we also talked about, let's see, what did we talk about? Oh yeah, we talked about the similarities between the True Media Global logo and the XLM logo. I mean, that was a huge coincidence. It's literally the same exact character. So what do you guys think? Is it possible that CP Group is working with XLM and that's how LightLink and XLM got together? Let me know what you think down in the comment section. And, I just want to say thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next one. And remember, God is good. Peace.